Still says starting. The Hangout is on air live. It claims, there we go. Hello, everybody, and whoever is going to be joining me. Look forward to you. Hello, Eric Breen, Samurai Raccoon. Nice seeing you. I'd just like to thank everybody. I got some great guests with me. I like to call her co-host.
I am the best.
She's just amazing. That's right. She absolutely. And I butcher names. So we have George Alexopoulos.
Yes, sir.
Oh, finally. I am notoriously bad with names. And we're just going to have a nice, hopefully a fun chat. Unless we get in a fight.
Is that a usual thing?
Yeah. There we go. I was just hearing myself because I was checking the chats, and I hate when I left the audio on that. That was terrible. So anyway, welcome everybody, and we're gonna have a good time. So, are we ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right. So George, let me ask you. Whoop, Nerd, did you say something?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna go on to his Indiegogo, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely do that because we'll share that in a little bit. So you're a cartoonist, correct?
Yeah, that's yes.
Well, you feel free to define it differently. If I butchered it, what you are, by all means.
Not at all. The project that I'm currently promoting is cartooning in the sense of like comic strips, like Peanuts or Calvin and Hobbes. But I also, do illustration, other stuff. But,
now, do you do it just for yourself, or do you do it for others as a career as well?
The comics and cartoons are a hobby, and my full-time job as of a few months ago was game development, actually.
Oh, really?
So like animation, painting, that sort of thing.
No, that's awesome, because I know Nerd here, for one, also is a game fan, correct? Uh-oh. Did we mute Nerd?
It looks like she's muted on the thing, yeah.
Hey, Nerd, I think you muted yourself. Let me double check, make sure, because I put it to share her screen, but I didn't mute her. Muted, yes, she muted herself. Nerd, you got to unmute yourself. I share her screen and she gets muted. All right. Hopefully she can get it back there. We'll give her time. So you got to love technical difficulties.
That's
absolutely. Right. I'm going to the panel here, making sure there's, yeah, it's not on my end. It's not letting me touch her there at all. Doggone it. Hopefully she figures it out. Did you get unmuted, Nerd? The people in the comments, Nerd, I did not slice her to bits. So yeah, she is alive. She should be okay. I don't know why she muted herself. Maybe she had a sneeze. I don't know. Well, anyway, so you've been in this business for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, my first graphic novel was published in 2005 by a publisher named Tokyo Pop. That was my, let's say, official debut. But before that, I was drawing comics on my website and stuff. So professional, I would say maybe almost in the realm of 15 years.
Okay, so that's a good amount of time. You've been pretty seasoned and working at this pretty hard.
Yeah, on and off. I haven't been able to do it full time for the majority of those years, unfortunately. But it's my passion. I love telling stories. I love writing, and I developed them hand in hand. So writing and drawing together, and I've been doing that since middle school, elementary school even. It's just something I love to do for fun, and hopefully someday I can do it full time. But even as a hobby, I like doing it.
Excellent. Very good. Nerd, you are still muted. So, oh, okay. That's why she's doing something. Okay, something happened there. All right. So yeah, that's a long time. So dare I ask it? How did you? What made you want to start doing this? What got you really involved in it?
Cartooning. It was the most direct way to. Well, it's like when you love something enough, you want to make it. So I was really into games as a kid, comics, cartoons, animation. And I remember when I was young, I saw these little Disney documentaries on how to do traditional animation, like flip books. even with Post-its, that sort of thing. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, I used to love flip books as a kid. You get those big books and you just flip the pages and that little spot, like even a regular book. Sometimes I have this Popeye one, and you know, it has a regular story, but in the bottom corner, if you flip the whole, and it was like 500 pages or something like that. You flip it, it's a little cartoon, you know, because of the flip book.
Yeah, I mean, it was nothing but stick figures, really, but there was a little bit of the miracle of, wow, I made this, you know, that feeling.
Hi, I'm sorry. Did you guys hear me or something?
You got muted, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure because I got back on and it looks like it said I wasn't muted. So.
Oh, you were. I was double checking and I said I muted you after that, trying to unmute you just in case. So, you know, technical fun.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's good. Things happen. So he was explaining his getting into art and cartooning here when you arrived. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, George.
No worries.
Do you prefer to be called George?
George is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so now you have Problematic here. So if you don't mind, tell us about Problematic.
I started it about 10 years ago. I think the 10-year anniversary is going to be in March. And let's see. It was a strip that I wanted to do because I was working at a print shop and I wasn't really making any comics. It was sort of a dead-end job. And I said, you know, I have to be doing something. I have to be building something on the side. So while I was at my printer, at my office, or at home during my spare time, I just said I'm going to do a strip because a proper graphic novel is like 200 pages. I didn't have time to draw a full graphic novel, but it's easy to just make strips. 4 panels, nothing complicated. And, you know, a couple hours a day, peck away at it. And I started this. It used to be called Bite Size. And now it's called Problematic. And basically, it's just a 4-panel strip. At first, it was just about me and my life. But then the main character turned into his own person. And then I started adding characters and making it more complex. And it turned into a pretty healthy little story. It's at about 550 strips now. And this particular collection for the Indiegogo is a collection of about 500 strips, plus some short stories. All of the black and white stuff, I'm collecting it into a single book. And now I'm drawing the series in color. So I thought that would be a good little place to collect everything into one volume. So it's about 10 years of work there.
Wow, yeah, and it's a lot. I looked it over. I've seen that you have some very interesting and fun comic strips, as I like to call them. You know, and that I find absolutely fascinating is how you keep up with putting out so much content. And if I recall, you did a video or something where you said you have enough for well over a year or something of content for the future still already.
Oh yeah, I have a binder of scripts and they're sitting on a disc as well. I want to say, what, volume 5? Another at least 500 scripts are written. So double what I have now is ready to be drawn. It's just a matter of finding the time to draw it. So on my best day, I can do 2 strips a day, but that would be pretty exhausting. and of course, I don't do this full time, at least not yet. So it's been really just a question of when can I scrape the free time together?
Yeah, and free time as an adult is not exactly that existent anymore.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I started it when I was 21-ish, 22, 3, I don't know, early 20s, let's say. So I had nothing but free time back then. And you know, as you get older, you get more responsibilities, and I can still scrape together a couple hours a week, but you know, it would be even better if I could do this part-time, let's say.
Okay.
So we're going to see.
Now, currently, you have this on Indiegogo, the Problematic Collection, which you said your goal is over 500 strips here to print. You're at 34% of your $5,000 flexible goal with 25 days left.
Yep.
So I recommend, you know, people right now, Nerd Wonder is showing this information on there. And there's different tiers. Like there's a $30 tier for the signed book.
Yep. 300 pages. It's a good deal, I think.
Back up.
Absolutely. And then, did you say you have that, Nerd?
What?
Did you say you have that?
No, the screen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Screen on here. I don't get them till they're shipped.
That's true. That you didn't get the advanced copy. What?
No, not cool enough for that.
Oh, okay. There's also a $50 tier for a signed book with sketch. Tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, if anyone wants to read the actual archive of the entire strip, it's up for free. The links are in the Indiegogo itself. So if you read the script or the strips and you have a favorite character, you just let me know and I'll draw them on the inside cover for you.
Well, that's a cool little special gift to throw in there.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of ink drawings and sketches. So all I could think of with the tiers is like, what would I want? You know, I don't know what other people like.
Well, speaking of tiers, the next tier is a $75 tier. It says the above plus 10 illustrated prints.
Yes. Those would be 4x6-ish size, like a postcard, including covers from previous editions where I collected about 200 strips per volume. So the old covers, illustrations of the characters, and some that haven't been done yet. So I'm thinking of doing like some, let's say, concept covers that may not make the final cut, but they'll still be finished illustrations, so they can be, printed nicely. I used to work as a printer, so I know how to do prints at least. I'll print those myself and, give them to your friends, postcard. I don't know if people use postcards still, but I think they're cool to collect.
Absolutely. And the next tier is interesting too, because I was looking, because I didn't know you really well, to be honest, before hearing of you not too long ago.
Mhm.
And so I've been researching into you, not stalking, but researching.
I understand.
And for the $100 tier, you have the same as above, but 5 color reproductions. And if I recall, you're pretty new to the coloring component of it, because before you were mainly just pencil and inking, and you said you decided then eventually to start coloring too.
Yes.
Correct?
The strip, this volume, about the 500, is all in black and white with gray shading in Photoshop. But I recently made the decision, which, who knows, maybe I'll change my mind. I thought it was more eye-catching, especially online. I'm always asking myself how to get new readers. And I think at a glance, color is more eye-catching. So recently I did a few tests on like Reddit and stuff and Twitter. And it seems that people still love the content, regardless of whether it's a black and white. But maybe more people, it pops off the screen more if they see it in color. And I've been resistant for years to work in color because it's really expensive to print. And I've always seen these as books. I like books, personally. I'm a book guy. So it's always been just a matter of how can I afford to print these books? Oh, I'll do it in black and white. But in the future, in the far future, I can see that people might be willing to spend a little extra on a colored book. So it seems viable. I may change my mind, but and in general, color just looks better. So
Sure.
I'm taking a educated guess that maybe that's the way to go in the future.
Okay. Now, I want to get back to that in a little bit, those strips, and a little bit more about them in a little bit. But you also have a $200 one that's been claimed by two. And it says all the above,
Yeah.
and an original strip. So you make them their own personal comic strip too?
Oh no, the all of these strips are drawn in ink and scanned. So the originals are basically black and white without the gray tones. So you'll see like on some of the strips I have like a little notes or drawn X where I need to fix an eyeball or something. So if you read the archive, if you see any original strip that really speaks to you, you can just say, I want that one, and I'll ship that to you, assuming I have it,
So let's talk about the art a little bit, and hopefully Nerd will be able to help me too. Are you mainly drawing by hand then and then scanning them, or have you been dabbling in the digital realm of drawing digitally?
Recently, it's been digital just for the sake of trying to draw as quickly as possible. But if I had all the time I wanted, the best way is to draw it in pencil first, really lightly, and then go over it with ink. I like Micron pens, and then scan, and then Photoshop.
Nice. I can't do micron pens. They keep exploding.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you feel like they don't respond well to your pressure?
No, it's just after I use them, like 3 days later, I open it up and they've blown up. Like it's just leaking everywhere.
It's too hot, it can't handle you.
That's actually never. No, that happened to me once, but I own a lot of them. That's never happened to me except for that one time. That's weird.
Oh man.
As I said, Nerd Wonder's too hot. The times you gotta handle
Maybe
it.
you live in a weird altitude or something.
So yeah, that's a nice nifty style. Now, did you develop that style because of, once again, you were working at a printing place, so it worked for you that way, or?
I love manga a lot, and manga is a primarily black and white medium, or at least for printing reasons. Manga is black and white. It's cheap. It's disposable in Japan. So I mostly used to consume manga, and I love black and white movies. So it comes very naturally to me. But I know, of course, in America, color is the big thing.
Well, I think it shows really well in your art. I think it looks really well done. And I'm not a manga expert by all means. I've been getting schooled by Nerd over the last year or so, and some others about that. But I recognized it right away when I seen it. It's like, this has got a little bit of a manga style to it, but not, I don't know. It's not like most manga I see exactly. It's almost like you put your own American spin on it or something.
Okay. It's a 4-koma as well.
Okay, what's that mean?
Okay, a 4-koma is when you have 4 panels and they go down.
Yeah, vertical. The Japanese language originally was written vertically from top to bottom and then right to left. So I think that's why they arranged their strips vertically. But also, because I put 2 of them per page, it fits really nicely into a normal book size. So I thought that was a match made in heaven. I didn't invent it. It was done by there was a manga called Azumanga Daioh.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's really funny. That author also does Yotsuba, which I love. And I just love the 4-panel format. I used to love it back in the day with Calvin and Hobbes and Peanuts. Oh, yeah. So it translated very naturally. And I've always, the whole thing about me drawing comics is I want to make my own books. I love the idea of self-publishing. So everything clicked so naturally. It's like, of course, I'm going to fill every page with panels.
Well, I love the simplicity of it. I've really been enjoying that, because sometimes when you see maybe a not as a skilled person doing comics, sometimes it's sort of hard to judge where the next panel you should read is, and I think that's where you see some inexperience in some, where they overly complicate it, and you've kept it streamlined, easy to read, and that's one of the things I like. It's just something you could just pick up and read for a few minutes and put down. I think this would make it like a great coffee table book.
Yeah, comic strips especially are excellent snacks. Like coffee table book is one way.
And that's the reason before it was bite size, I'm guessing.
That's one, yeah. Also because of his height, he's so short. I used to have a friend who called me fun size, so that's why I thought of that. Yeah, it's I just like the idea of comics as almost therapy. It's something like a comfort food. Like you can just have it next to you, read a couple of strips, it puts a smile on your face, and I just love the idea of having a favorite book nearby, and that's what I've always wanted to do with this one. It's just happy, familiar.
Yeah, and that's the ring I got from it, because I grew up with comic strips in the newspaper, yes, and in black and white. Peanuts. I loved Garfield, Beetle Bailey, and a lot of them, and so I like that kind of thing. Mad, even when they had them for a while and things like that. So I like books where there are a bunch of short little comic strips and things like that too, where you can just pick up, get a couple minutes of escapism and chill out, even if you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah. There's, I don't know, ever since the newspapers died, well, relatively speaking, there's a great documentary called Stripped. If anyone wants to look that up, I highly recommend.
I will totally go watch that, because as a kid, I wanted to do this for a living. I wanted to make Sunday newspaper strips. Okay,
then you have to see it then.
Yes, please.
If you were a Calvin and Hobbes person, there's a notorious story of like how Bill Watterson, the creator, is like basically a recluse. Yeah. And he hasn't been heard from since he stopped working on Calvin and Hobbes. But he did a voice interview on this documentary. And It's like the first time he's spoken in like 15, 20 years. So if you love comic strips at all, you must watch this documentary.
I've seen that before. I just never watched it. So that's definitely one I'd like to put on my list.
You've got to see. Yeah, it's about basically, you know, the death of the newspaper comic strips, and it became web comics. And web comics, as it now up to this very day, is still searching for its own identity.
You know, and speaking of identity too, your strips have a unique identity. They're not just haha little funny pieces, but you put some thought and you put some issues in there to make people think.
Yeah, I mean, over 10 years, you can't just write the same kind of content, but I basically, you know, you live your life, and then occasionally something like a light bulb will go off, and I'll say to myself, wow, that would be a really good strip. Or like somebody right there wrote our Ghost Creations, we had a funeral for a bird. That happened in the series where I was walking down the street one day. I was having my lunch break at work, and I saw a dying bird at my feet. And I was like, what am I going to do? You could leave it alone. But then I was thinking to myself, like, should I mercy kill it? Like, because it was toast. It was not going to make it. It was clearly not. But it's like, this is very sad and serious, and it's not funny at all. And in the strip, the main character, Greg, is kind of religious. So all he did was he held a funeral service for it. He read a few verses from his Bible, and he was sad, and then he just went back to work. And the punchline at the end was he got yelled at for being late. and it's pathetic. Like, his boss didn't care about the bird, didn't ask, and Greg didn't say what happened. And it's just this sad little thing. But I like that a strip can make you laugh and touch you, and also it can be anything you want. So I love the idea that it just so happens that this strip is very versatile. The characters can basically do anything I want to write.
And you're pretty versed in religion too, if I'm not mistaken.
I was. In my early to mid 20s, I wanted to be a preacher, actually. And since then, I've kind of cooled off. I'm agnostic now, but I have a huge background in Protestant Christianity. Yeah.
Well, Jesus wants you back. So
I would love to. That's another subject for another day, I guess. But it's something that I'm still very warm about. The main character is very religious, and I have no problem having that be a part of the story. Some people complained, but it's one of those things where it's like, look, I'm not shoving it down people's faces. Like, it's just the main character. Like, part of his thing is he's really shy, right? But he also wants to tell people about Jesus. So it's like, there's these really funny strips where, like, he'll be walking in the mall, and some guy from Verizon will hand him a pamphlet. Here, take this pamphlet. And Greg will say, okay, let me give you a tract. Let me tell you about Jesus. And the guy at the booth says, no, thanks.
Not a chip tract.
Right. So it's like, that's something that actually used to happen to me. I went through a little evangelist phase where I'm the most introverted person. I hate talking to people. Yeah. But I was like, no, I have to tell people about Jesus. You know.
Let me give you a bit of my. I'm pretty conservative, and I'm a believer, and I don't hide that. And I'm a big believer in you don't need to shove it in people's faces. Right. You show them by your actions and what you do. That shows people.
I mean, if you keep shoving it down their throats, I made up a song called "You Make Everybody an Atheist." To happen.
Sure. Yeah, it was this weird phase. I felt really compelled, like, I just have to do this. And eventually I wanted to bake it into the strip. So, like, when people would order my book, I would also put like a tract in there. And then one really famous artist, I can't remember his name. He works for BuzzFeed now. He recently told me on Twitter that he wants a refund because he was offended that I sent him a tract with one of my books. He has like 1 million followers, and I was like, who the hell are you? And he was so obnoxious about it. Like, I ruined his life because I told him about Jesus. Like,
right. I mean, all we have to say is no thank you. I mean, I shared something with you.
Okay, I gotta go ask. Are these chick tracks?
No, it was not one of those obnoxious ones.
Oh my god, I wouldn't take if you did. There's like,
those are so cheesy though.
They're so awful and evil, but they're so funny.
Doesn't Ethan Van Sciver have a chick track as his icon?
No, that's not a chick track. That's like some really old school comic. Like I actually I used to complain that Chelsea Kane's Maneaters is like she's the granddaughter of T Chick. And I was constantly talking about that and so forth, that somebody mentioned there's a whole entire group on YouTube that does they're called the Bible Reloaded, and they're two guys that narrate really hysterically all these chick tracks, and I love them.
Well, Samurai Raccoon in the comments brought up a good point. He said Nightcrawler was Catholic for a long time and no one complained. As long as this character's faith isn't the driving point, it shouldn't matter. And I agree, it should be part of their character, but it shouldn't be everything revolves necessarily around that. That's the problem we have with the Iceman and things like that, when they make sexuality the only note of the character.
I'm gay! It's not like I kept hearing for 5 hours about Daredevil screaming, I'm a Catholic! I can't do that. I'm Catholic. It's like, no.
But it really is a daring choice to make your character like that. Because like you said, there's going to be people turned off just because of that faith. But it's, you're not allowed to ever have that in your character. I don't get it. It's part of the character. As long as it's done well, I see no issue with it. I find it quite refreshing.
I mean, as long as it's tasteful, I don't like, even if they wanted to do the Nightcrawler being gay thing or whatever, it's like, tell me good stories. I don't care about I don't want it to be propagandistic. And I think even subconsciously people can tell the difference between a writer telling me what this story is versus these characters are almost talking through the writer. It's like they're real people and they're just using the writer's hand as a medium to connect to the real world.
And I've noticed you've had an issue with that too, and you've spoken out against it. And I agree with you. It's become the propaganda gets in front of the story rather than, you can have elements of your beliefs in a book and things like that, as long as it's not the driving element of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, but like, if you guys read this strip and if it feels natural, then people have told me it does feel natural and it doesn't feel like in your face. But the whole point of the strip is just to look, there's all these different characters from all these different backgrounds, and each of them represents different characteristics. None of them have overlap, let's say. The main character is very emo. His best imaginary friend is really dry and acerbic. And they each have, all the main characters, each represents different beliefs or different outlooks of the world. And the whole point of the strip is what happens when all these different types of people interact. And hopefully it's fun,
Exactly. If they were all the same, what fun would it be? And that's one of
we're the super best friends and we all agree about the same thing.
I feel I get along well with Nerd Wonder. I know there's certain areas we drastically disagree on.
Oh, definitely. But why should that matter? Honestly, as I say, that the world becomes more beautiful when there's difference.
Right. Even though you're wrong, but it's okay.
I'm okay with
And I'm sure you feel I'm wrong. And that's okay. And that's the thing. We look for so many reasons to fight that we forget all the reasons that we can get along. And you got hit by that with the whole Reddit drama. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that was pretty stressful until I got to meet everybody.
Yeah.
I thought my career was over.
I actually do not know about the Reddit drama. Would you like to share, or you don't want to even remember that?
Yeah, I'm worried that people have heard the story before, and I don't want to bore them. But the short version is that I drew a series of strips that increased in popularity until one of them hit the all-time highest rated comic on the entire website. Ooh. And
now, just for the record, let's assume I know nothing, which is pretty close. How hard is it to hit the #1 spot there?
I might just say it's luck. It's posting at the right time, but also the content has to really be viral. It has to have that je ne sais quoi that everybody is like, oh, I have to share this.
If you were to give a rough estimate of the number of competition you have daily to get that top spot, what would that be?
That's a hard question. It's nearly impossible, but if your name is really well known, like there's a certain creator I was telling you about, and they were really famous, they might be able to hit the front page every time they make an update. But as an unknown, it's really, really hard.
So it'd be like me getting 10,000 views on a video.
I mean, it can happen, right? It can happen. But sometimes, let's say the new Marvel trailer just came out and you're the first person to do a reaction.
Mhm.
That's because everyone's looking for a reaction to the Marvel trailer. So sometimes you'll accidentally hit what's in the zeitgeist and all of a sudden you're the man. Everyone's looking at your content. So it just so happened that I created a comic that touched the vein, the pulsing vein of the comics community at the right time. And they upvoted it like crazy. It was super rare. It hit the front page of the entire website. And all was well until they went to my Twitter and they discovered that I'm like normal. And I follow all kinds of people on Twitter. Like,
well, you follow some of the wrong people, evidently.
Yeah, followed the wrong people. So words like alt-right were being thrown around at me.
Oh, joy.
And what was a miscalculation for me was that the punchline of one of the strips after that was that I did something called the hand circle game, which is when you put your hand in a ring, your forefinger and your thumb, and you put it below your waist and you make your friend look at it. And the joke is that if you look at it, I get to punch you in the shoulder.
Oh, I know that one.
I remember that as well.
Yeah. But the downside is that also looks like the OK hand symbol.
Of course, they turned into a bad thing.
Right. Now, the OK hand symbol was a meme that they, 4chan invented. Was like, oh, what can we, like the thumbs up, right? How can we turn this into a white power symbol as a joke? But that's all they needed to see on Reddit. And all of a sudden, it's like that plus my Twitter stuff. They put it together and they're like, look, he smuggled an alt-right symbol into our comics. And they blew up on me. And ever since then, they basically were downvoting everything I posted, including answers to questions like hard questions. Are you alt-right? I would say, no, of course not. And I would list these really well thought out answers. And they would downvote my responses into invisibility. I couldn't post anymore.
Wow, what a wonderful, caring group of individuals.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but on Reddit, if you get a lot of down votes like that, it buries your comments and stuff.
Exactly.
So it really hides what you were trying to say and gives you no true rebuttal.
Yes, sir. Anything that's upvoted gets put up to the front page, and downvoted stuff basically goes invisible. So the only people that will see it are the people who are looking for it, aka the people who are brigading me. And the moderators actually stepped in. I was surprised. They stepped in on my side. They said, we want your content to be on here, and we're going to, like, the people who were going after me, they're going to, like, report them and stuff. So I was my theory is on Discord, they were coordinating or something like that. There's like an anti-comics gate movement, let's say. They were saying, George posted, let's go downvote his newest post right now, so nobody sees it. And that was happening.
You believe in the El Dorado, the city of all the anti-comic skaters, which live on Discord, a mysterious place like Atlantis, which somebody has seen. They said they saw it, and then immediately everybody knew who they were and they kicked them out.
Apparently it's real.
Yeah, I've heard it's real. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to go find it.
Well, maybe someone can infiltrate and find out if it was real against me. But the moderators definitely said they're coordinating from off the website because they were looking at everyone's profiles. They couldn't find a connection. But they confirmed that I was being brigaded.
Think about how much hatred or aggravation somebody would have to take that much time to do that to you.
All they would have to do is ask me, are you alt-right? And I said no. But they didn't care. Like I went to, it doesn't matter. But I asked for help on Reddit, and then all those people were like, they followed me to other places on Reddit, and they just wouldn't let me defend myself. They were saying some pretty nasty stuff about me, and I couldn't respond. And long story short, I thought my career was over because now my name was tarred and feathered, and I didn't know anybody in Comicsgate, although I followed Ethan. And for weeks, I was like, what am I going to do? And then by chance, I saw one of his live streams. I jumped on. I did a super chat saying, can I tell my story? And he invited me on. And now weeks later, months later, someone told me to do an Indiegogo, and here I am promoting it. But
now, all that negative at the time, have you found that you got more attention now than ever before?
Yeah, there was a reversal. Like as it was happening, all the bad stuff, I was telling my wife, like, if Comicsgate hears about this and I can get anyone, like even a journalist, to pick up this story, then it'll be okay. But I didn't know anybody. I only had like 200 people on my Twitter, 300. And I didn't have any professional connections. So for a while, I was like, wow, I was emailing everybody. I was messaging everyone I could on Twitter. Nobody responded. I was like, that's it. I'm screwed. And just by luck, I guess, I got plugged in, and it's okay now. But for a while, I was really like, I was looking for new jobs. Like,
Wow.
outside of comics. I'm like, it's not the worst thing in the world to change careers, but I'm like, I just needed to find the right audience, and I've never been good at that.
Well, I think you're starting to find it now, and I think you're starting to build your network. If I tell you, if anything, I've seen a tremendous network here online. We were talking about it a little bit before we went live. The Frugal Force, we might not be huge numbers, like DNC or anything of that nature, but I tell you, the people I correlate with and things here and that support me and things are the nicest bunch of people you could ever ask for. They send me artwork and things. Like just some guy sent me a picture of my kid, little Frugal there, and he's colored it, by the way. Yeah, we printed it out and he did it like a coloring sheet and stuff. I mean, who does that? It's just absolute kindness.
Yeah, that's it has been the one great thing out of all this. Like nothing I could have controlled, right? But getting to meet everybody has been I don't know. It's like I thought I was toast, and at the last minute, I don't know. It was like this giant judo reversal.
It is. It's almost unbelievable. You can't believe the support that you get, especially after all you were getting is vilification. And it's like, oh my gosh, people are actually standing up for me. People understand I'm not alone. Yeah. And I think that's a very big point there, realizing that you're not alone.
You really aren't. And honestly, yeah, like some of us aren't the biggest, most popular people, but honestly, I love meeting people and being friends with everybody, whether or not we agree or disagree on stuff. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Honestly, we just have a passion for comics, and I love your work, and it hurts to know, like, I did know you were getting bashed on. I just didn't know where or what happened specifically, but like, I was upset about that. I'm like, but his comics are really good. They're beautiful. They're excellent. You do a great job.
You said you only spend a couple hours a day. I mean, from what I'm saying, it seems like you spend a lot more than a couple hours, but you must be very quick and speedy at what you do now.
It varies per strip, but I try to make it like maybe an hour per panel. I try not to spend more than that, because cartooning's all about refinement and simplification. And if you can't do it quickly, especially with manga, you're kind of gonna go out of business. So manga, especially, it's published weekly and about 18 pages per week. So a lot of manga artists have like 5 assistants helping them, doing backgrounds, shading, inking, whatever. But the whole name of the game is to put out as many comics as quickly as possible and over as many pages as possible, because it's a volume thing. Mm-hmm. So if you're familiar with One Piece, that's like dozens of volumes, and it's going strong still. Yeah. Dragon Ball was the same thing. So cartooning is all about speed and maximum quality, but while keeping that speed at, like, let's say I want to draw at 100% skill level. Yeah. That would take me way more time than if I just said I'm going to draw at 70%, and then I'll just go as fast as possible and draw 3 strips in the amount of time it would take me to do 1.
Are you a Super Saiyan?
No, I'm like Krillin in the Dragon Ball. What's the Team 4 Stars Dragon Ball, where he always?
Oh yeah, no, you're not kidding. Oh,
I'm Krillin.
You are not.
I'm as short as Krillin.
You are more like Tien. He doesn't show up often, but Tien is legit.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
I don't know who that or TN is, so I'm glad Nerd's here. For
I know all the Dragon Ball stuff. I love the Dragon Ball stuff, okay? And I still haven't seen the movie, so I apologize.
I haven't seen it. I haven't watched Dragon Ball in a long time.
I think I have a Dragon Ball video game. I haven't played it yet, though.
Oh, is it the they did a really good one earlier, but yeah, like Dragon Ball's good. Go watch it. Go watch it, Frugal. It's a good show.
I've got a long list of things to catch up on. That's for sure. I read a lot more than I watch. So.
Yeah, it's a long series. As we get older, I have to try to pick out the best and short anime as well. There was a recent anime called Kids on the Slope that's about 12 episodes long. That's like one of my favorite animes ever. And I just happened to fall upon it as it's a diamond like among diamonds, but I only have time for small series now.
I'm slowly getting into and finding more things because little Frugal will want to watch something, and I try to spend as much time with the kids as I possibly can. And if that's watching a show they want to watch, I'll do that. So I've been introduced to Power Rangers and Pokemon. And all this other stuff. Yeah, I know. You're like, well, who doesn't know that? Well, I was an adult when that stuff came out, so
I have that stuff saved. Like, I don't have time to play video games anymore, but I still collect them for the rare occasion where, like, my nephews will play them with me, or if I ever have kids.
I like to play them. It's one of my de-stressors, but I have a huge backlog. And that's another thing. I enjoy playing games with them. Couch co-op is absolutely fun. Matter of fact, Little Frugal and I recently did a video. We haven't put it up yet, where we beat the Lego Marvel superheroes on the Xbox. But now he wants to do another video. We just played the game for the first time last night, 99 Vitas. I don't know if you ever heard of that or not. But
Vitas, no.
I think it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up because he really likes those kind of games. But it's sort of done in a very cartoon style, almost like something like River City Rampage on Nintendo, a little bit of that kind of thing.
Oh, I love that game.
Yeah, and you can level up your characters and stuff. So he wants us to do a video on that. So that's one of the ways we get to have fun time together and make it constructive as well. So we can do a video on it together, and yet we still have the time and do those things we enjoy. So who knows, maybe that with your art and your cartooning, you get the kids involved in that and learning how to do it as well. Mine love reading comics. Little Frugal made his own issue 4 of Mr. Crypt because he liked it so much.
That's right.
It's a great hobby, especially if you want to learn how to draw. Like, I used to teach art, and I said to a lot of students, if you want to learn how to draw, the best way, because there's the 10,000 hour rule, if you've ever heard of it.
Please share.
Well, basically, if you do anything for 10,000 hours, you'll master it. So a full-time job for about 10 years is what I used to say.
Okay.
If you draw comics and you start when you're really young, you'll be an amazing artist by the time you're in college. That's not to discourage anyone, but it's also the quality of your training. But comics are a great way to practice, to really grind out those hours. And even just to train your hand to listen to you, that takes a lot of practice.
Oh, I agree with you completely. I used to be in art, and when I was also a musician and I was traveling around, I had a free ride to art school, but I didn't take it. Because I didn't see be a long term. I don't think I would ever been good enough to make it a career. But then I got hurt, so I couldn't do it anyway. So that I have a hard time even writing now. So it's the draw is I can some, but it's going to have days I can't, or I'll have to hold my hand and hold my wrist, and then it's going to come out probably like crap. But how about you, Nerd? I mean, you spend tons of hours, right? How many hours a day do you probably spend drawing?
Oh, every time on my free time and so forth. And I just design when I can. When I'm not doing this, it's either making videos or drawing and designing stuff. And then just before bed, I usually I make 30 minutes to just play a game.
Oh, well, that's good. You got to carve out time to de-stress. But I agree with you with the hours and things like that, because I would do that with music. I'd carve out so much time a day, every day, to practice with music and things like that. And you would see when you're doing it daily and consistently, you would see those gains. And I've seen when I slacked off, I would lose those gains.
Mm-hmm. especially with comics, if you can go back a few years, like this problematic collection is actually really interesting, because if you look at episode number 1 versus episode number 500, you can see the 10 years of difference. It's really amazing to see.
I love that about webcomics.
Well, I used to love that about Snoopy and comic strips like that too. You look at old Peanuts, Snoopy and everything were drawn a lot different than what they evolved in.
They were so cute as well back then. I'm sorry. I as a kid, I got a read from my library was the Golden Book of Peanuts, and it had like a bunch of the classic stuff. It had historical things about Schultz, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want this. We never were able to find it. Like, my mom wanted to get it for my birthday. She's like, oh my gosh, she'd love this. And nope, never found it.
One of my bucket list things is there's a Charles Schultz museum, and also there's one in St. Louis, or no, somewhere in Ohio, where they have original pages. And so someday I'm gonna make a pilgrimage out there and just spend like a weekend going through the originals.
Take me with you.
And the one in Ohio has, I think, the biggest library of original comics anywhere in the country, including like Calvin and Hobbes and that stuff. If the Comicsgate people are interested in comic strips, we can all meet there and spend the weekend at the library.
Oh my gosh, yes!
That would be worth the trip. I'd love to do that. I've been saying like Comicsgate should have its own convention.
We should. Honestly, I've always wanted to set that up.
We should do that years ago, and just every time it starts to headway, it seems like there comes fights and it goes away.
We'll just we'll get all the celebrities, which are people that make comics, and whoever can tolerate us can come.
All those celebrities and us.
The celebrities are us. It's like, come meet your favorite YouTubers and comic creators. No cosplay.
Well, we could try to all meet at a certain convention that's like in between everybody. Like the one that I want to go to, but I don't know if I'll be welcome there anymore, is called Small Press Expo, and it's in or near DC. And I exhibited there last year. I'm going to try to do it again this year, but who knows what's going to happen.
Well, you're, and that's the thing. You said you're a centrist, if anything. So, I guess that means everybody hates you. But
yeah, it's a weird place. Like, I think the further you go into either extreme, that's where I get the most flack. But I understand both sides, as long as people don't go too far on the fringes. But yeah, since the far left, let's say, is such a loud voice in the comics industry, let's say, it would be very easy for them to use their influence to lie about me and say, wait, he's a Nazi, which I'm absolutely not. I shouldn't even have to say that, but they can just use their influence and say, don't give him a table because he's going to bring bad people to our comics convention, which is ironic because every year I go, it's just a sea of alternative / left-leaning / a million and one rainbows at every table. And it's like, oh, I'm so supportive of all these things, but I would defy anyone to even find a single MAGA hat or even a single person wearing like a cross around their neck. I don't know. I would love for everyone to like go and crash the party, but not like in a mean way, but like, hey, we're part of comics too. The whole point of this comics convention is self-publishing. And that's what Comicsgate really is. I see it as the newest wave of self-publishers, at least in this country.
Yeah, it's a circle. So yeah, it would be nice to go there like all together. That'd be pretty cool. I don't think Mark Waid would randomly show up to go kick our butts. So
well, I plan to go this year, and I think if enough of us, even if we can't get in, it would be good to just be there and hang out. Hey, so I don't know.
I'm gonna have to wear a "Make America Great" hat again and say it's to keep me from being blinded by all the rainbows.
Man, I feel like they would throw acid on you.
Let's try to be a little bit more accommodating to them to ensure that they don't. No OK symbols, no red hats, no grinning.
You know,
It's-
and Power Through Wisdom there just posted a great point. The fact that we need to even consider politics when it comes to comics or creativity is disgusting. Who gives a darn? I'm editing here.
Yeah.
Just love the art and everything that comes together, and the love of the creativity. And I agree. You know, why do we have to subject all that? Let's just have some fun.
Yeah, it's honestly there shouldn't be forced down your mouth like magical propaganda of religion. And I'm like, didn't we learn anything from the historical moments that like I don't know, like all those other stories of like the Romans forcing other religions out of like power with horrible propaganda and stuff. Do you want to be like that? No, shut your face. Nobody needs this. Honestly, you're tarnishing and destroying art when you do that, like Constantine or somebody else did back in the day.
I'd like to see Wade try to come in and flip tables. I really would, because I don't think he's got the endurance for it.
Dude,
No joke though. What kind of a statement on it would be a very positive net statement if we as a group met there and then they started trying to kick us out. But it's like, listen, we are also alternative comics and we represent a huge, actually diverse spectrum of creators and readers.
I like that.
We just want to be here at this comics convention. Why are you trying to kick us out?
When is it?
It's called Small Press Expo, and I think it takes place in September or October.
Oh, I can definitely set it up.
Yeah, it's in DC, in the DC area. But I plan to at least apply for a table. I almost get one every year.
Nice.
But I'm not going there to stir up trouble. Like what I want really is for, hey, look at all these people making comics, including, let's say, someone like Ethan. What an amazing success story. And the whole convention's about indie comics. Why wouldn't they want to celebrate someone crowdfunded his own comic? Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, the technology and the networking we have now and the communication, isn't it amazing of what you can do that you used to never be able to do?
No.
I mean, you know, how many years ago you could never do this?
Nope. Even Jeff Smith with Bone, if anyone's read that.
Oh my
yes.
God. Yes.
Yeah, he had to manually call and ship his own books to every comic store because he couldn't do it through Diamond. Diamond is a distribution company, if anyone doesn't know.
Yeah, they're the big monopoly, big evil corporate. That is one of the heaviest strangleholds on the industry.
Yeah, it's bad news. But he got around it by manually calling every comics shop. And of course, Bone was really high quality as well. And people read it.
Yeah, Little Frugal loves it.
That's what you had to do back in the day. It was an incredible amount of work. So not only do you have to make the strip, but you have to distribute it as well. It's crazy.
That's kind of cool.
But now you know, comics
now we have new marketing channels, new ways for you to get the information out to people. I mean, like Indiegogo, Kickstarter, things.
Find better ways to ship our books without.
It's super easy, actually. There's something called Media Mail now. It's $3 flat rate for any book.
Nice.
So I actually, whenever someone orders my book, I just do Media Mail, and shipping is really cheap.
Now overseas it gets expensive, but
Overseas is very expensive. That's true.
Didn't DNC do that? Like, wasn't he rejoicing? He was like, "I found it, guys."
I hope so, because that's how I've always sent stuff with Media Mail.
Yeah, Media Mail's the thing to do.
I used to even do that with my albums. So when we sold albums, you could ship those Media Mail, and it saved us a whole lot in shipping.
Yep. The only downside I think is they're allowed to open the package to make sure it's just a book.
Yep.
But or a piece of media.
Right. Just to check, just in case they have to.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm not like shipping. They always ask you, is this perfume, toxic, whatever, batteries? Nope.
Oh, yes. Of course. What do you think I'm shipping as Media Mail for?
I'm shipping hot fire.
And that's how I ship books, when I just randomly send Frugal Force prizes and stuff to people, which I'm way behind on sending one to Boom Studios. He's been waiting so patiently. So if he watches this, I apologize. I just have not been able to make it to the post office in time in weeks.
Dude, I was promised like DNC. Okay, I'm gonna confess this right now. DNC gave me a bunch of posters, and I offered to sell them online to people. I got a few offers and so forth. I have yet to find tubes. It's been quite a few months. I have
be able to get them from your sell those.
They were expensive.
Staples,
Yeah,
Amazon, maybe.
Yeah. Chuck Staples Office Max
Instead of
suit.
two, actually get triangle package. What do you call it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so my
Gotta do
apologies
it.
for
I still gotta get all these tubes and apologize and try and find these DMs because I keep getting DMs by everybody that because I like friendship and stuff. So,
Are you a Nazi?
yes.
yes, I am totes a Nazi.
Nazis.
You know who else had friends? Nazis.
My other friend, my other half is obviously a Nazi, corrupt, the black.
You Twitter tweet to a bunch of people and they say something nice. You know who else had friends? Nazis. I talk about a way to push that.
Yeah,
Like,
but I guess in a way, I know this is gonna sound a little bit weird, but I guess in a way, your situation on Reddit reminds me of that one guy. Remember the guy with the red sweater? Dude with the red sweater? Anybody? Anybody remember that guy? There was a guy that went on a debate during the Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton debate.
Ken Bone.
Yeah, Ken Bone. That was it. Yeah, Ken Bone. And he went on that and then suddenly everybody loved Ken Bone because he was super fun and super optimistic and he was adorable. And then one day,
oh yeah,
they needed to look into his tweets, but they rigged it. Like apparently they took everything out of context and everything. They're like, look, Ken Bone's a terrible person. He's a Nazi alt-right person. It's like, no, he's not.
Wow. There's a famous channel here on YouTube called H3H3 that did a really funny, just leave him alone. He's sweet.
Yeah, I love that. And they did that also to Humongous and pay for cancer.
Humongous. What a great guy.
Now you said you do. What actually, we talked about these comic strips. You have other strips so that you work on too, right?
Graphic novels.
Okay. Yeah, I shouldn't call them comic strips. I guess I should call them properly.
That's totally fair. I only did, the differentiation would be like graphic novels are really kind of like short stories, as opposed to a strip, which can go on forever, really. But yeah, graphic novels, short stories. Lately, I've been trying to decide how to best publish. Like I have all these scripts for graphic novels that I don't have time to draw anymore as I get older. So I think I'm just going to publish the scripts with illustrations. And let's see, I had one graphic novel that I was really proud of called Paris that you can read through my website, which won this International Manga Award a couple of years ago. And it actually got me like a free trip over there. And for like a week and a half, they did this whole award ceremony and stuff because they liked it. And it was this amazing, so it was very surreal. Like nobody knew me back home, right? I just drew comics for fun. And then I sent this manga to this competition and they loved it so much that they flew me over there and gave me a trophy. And I was like, it was all expenses paid and everything.
Well, you gotta love that.
It was amazing. And I'm a huge Japan nerd and I even took it in high school and everything, but I was like, my God. And then when I came back home, I went back to working at the print shop. I was like a nobody again. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? If I'm winning these awards, this means I have something that I need to do something with. I can't just sit here wasting my life. So I quit a little while afterwards. I'm like, listen, I'm actually going to let myself go into poverty if I have to, but I need to do comics or something.
You know, I've never received a trophy, been flown out or anything for a trophy, but doesn't it, I don't know about you, doesn't it make you feel funny when all of a sudden these people are like rolling out the red carpet kind of deal for you, picking you up in a limo and all that kind of stuff? It makes you think, what the heck did I do? That was so great.
It's so surreal.
Yeah, I did that once. I didn't win a trophy or anything, but I did something and I was flown out. What they did is they paid for me. They flew me out. They picked me up in a limo. I was like, what? And they took me to this fancy dinner and I opened up the menu. I was like, I was afraid to order anything. I felt like it's like, all this stuff is too expensive for me. It's like, what am I here for?
Same thing.
Yeah. And then they put me up in a nice hotel and everything's like, I was like, guys, I'm not this important, you know? So yeah, it was felt so weird. And then back home to my normal job.
Yeah. It's weird.
It is definitely an odd feeling. Now, so yeah, you have other projects, and you mentioned video games here, and I noticed this one too. And I'm this seems like something the Nerd Wonder would probably jump onto. 9 More Lives. Wow.
Yes.
So, you mind telling us a little bit about this?
All right. It's actually, I just was a freelancer, so it's not my project, but it's a sort of adventure game. Like in the old style, you click on the screen, the character moves, and you can click all over the screen and investigate things, solve puzzles. And the basic idea is you're this cat character, and you live in a very grungy noir city, and you're trying to solve a murder, basically. And the people that contacted me asked me to do the character art and backgrounds and UI, and I think it looks really cool.
And if people want to see the trailer, I do have the links for all the stuff we're talking about in the info bar down below. So you'll be able to check that out. Now, you'd also... I'm sorry, go ahead.
The game has a Steam page. If you play games on PC, you can actually look it up on Steam and add it to your wish list. I'm sure the developers would love that.
Yeah, and I plan on doing that. Now, our PC isn't anything fancy for gaming. We have an older PC, but we're able to play some stuff on there, and that might be it. With the point and click, I should be able to handle it. And I like point and click games. Matter of fact, I don't mind older games. I love going back to older games like Clock Tower and stuff, which were point and click.
It's just like that, yeah.
Yeah. So those are fun. A nice, nice challenge.
Very charming. The writing's really good. Although now I'm worried, with all this business with Reddit and stuff, I was wondering what if, because I haven't heard from them in a while, they didn't need my work anymore because all they're doing is programming now. But I was like, what if the people on Reddit contacted these developers and tried to pressure them to get my name off the project? I'm like, my God, could you imagine?
Oh, gosh.
I don't know if it'll happen. Like, I haven't contacted them and asked them. It's like, let them be blissfully ignorant if they don't know already. But like, who knows? What if this game gets busted or in trouble because they're associated with me?
Well, and sometimes that's why you have to have pen names and things like that, and go under different names for different type of products, even for branding purposes. I love when somebody goes, well, to make it have real merit, you have to use your real name. No, you don't. Look at how many popular, famous artists and writers and things use pen names for projects.
Yeah.
Part of it is for disassociation with other things because you get pigeonholed as well. But I mean, it also enables you to have that protection. I have no problem with that. If an artist or Marvel writer or anything wants to go and tout certain causes and stuff and use a pen name, I'm fine for that. Don't use the brand that you're representing's name to support you and get you undue attention. But right, it worked for CB Sobolski, Samurai Raccoon said. Absolutely. That's what I do because there's just too many people out there that are going to do anything they can to destroy you. So you have to protect yourself.
Who knows?
I love it. It's one of the things people love to come at me with. Well, the guy wears a stupid mask. Yeah, I wear a stupid mask because of people like you.
Yeah, I've heard the stories that Dan Slott, ever since you started that blog, it's like, I will find him.
Yeah,
literally, you're his Spider-Man.
Yeah, I've been mentioned in some meetings and stuff like that. It's like, really that bad?
It's like, today I'm going to go and play a video game with my son. By the way, Dan Slott sucks. Goes in this tangent. It's like, I will destroy him.
In all fairness, I think I'm fair. I give him praise for some stuff.
Praise? No.
If they do some good, he's wrote some good She-Hulk books.
Yeah,
he's wrote a couple good issues of Spider-Man.
No, we can condone the She-Hulk books, but Spider-Man, I'm chucking him out a window. Okay,
I'm not saying all She-Hulk books. Some of the She-Hulk books suck too, just for the record. But yeah, well, I had the same thing with Nick Spencer. I raved about his Superior Foes of Spider-Man. I hated his run of Captain America with a passion, and I enjoy his work on Spider-Man. So
yeah,
you don't have to like everything somebody does.
I'm very close with a friend of mine, and he checks out the books all the time, and so he gave me a heads up. He's like, go read Nick's first issue. And I'm like, I don't want to. I'm done with Spider-Man. I've been done for 10 years. And he goes, no, go read it. Go back and read it. And I did, and I fell in love with it.
It really has been damage control. I mean, it's not perfect. The stories are actually pretty goofy and silly, but the characterization is much more on point.
Yeah, it's very perfect. It is very Spider-Man. It's like the characters, like all of them, Mary Jane, Peter Parker, like all the characters that show up. It's Jonah Jameson especially. They're writing them well, and he's like hinting, "Oh, look what I'm gonna fix," and then I'm like, "You better not be lying, man. You better not be lying."
You know, so we're speaking of reading other things too. How about you, George? What do you prefer to read when you get to sit down? I know you mentioned some Magna stuff and things like that, but is there any particular, books that you absolutely love you can go to time and time again, or an ongoing series that you'd put at the top of your shelf?
Man, it's almost too many. I think I don't read American comics very much, actually. I don't.
I don't blame you at the moment.
Yeah, I've just never been into them, actually. I love manga because they're about normal people. So I've been a huge movie guy. Lately, I've been a huge game guy. I don't read a lot of books anymore, actually. I have my collection sitting around, but it's a boring answer, actually. I don't have many books that I read anymore.
It's an honest answer. Right? And you said a game guy. So if you would say you were to pick up a game off the shelf right now, what game would you pick up to play?
I got to look at my collection here.
Yep, there we go.
Well, I know that Nerd Wonder's avatar is Morgana from Persona 5.
Yes, it is.
And I've been playing that on and off for quite a while, and then I stopped playing.
That's an avatar for? I didn't know. I have Persona 5. I've never played it, but
oh my gosh, yes, you must play. You must play 4 as well. 4
is one of the best RPGs ever made.
It is.
I might have it.
I don't. Okay, Persona 4 was literally all right. Final Fantasy started going downhill around that time, and that was the only JRPG. And I tried other ones. I tried Lunar. I tried like all these other series, and they all did not appeal to me. And a friend of mine let me borrow his Persona 4, and I fell in love with it. I bought every single game of the franchise. And my character right now, the current Cat Wonder pick is myself as a kind of Cat Morgana.
Yeah.
So what is Cat Morgana?
Oh, there's a cat. They have like little mascots kind of thing in the Persona games, and in this one, it's a cat who's been trapped in this world. You'll figure it out as you go on, and says that he once was human, and his name is Morgana, and he wants to assist you so he can become human again.
Okay. So you'd pick up that. Now, I'm guessing those games take a long amount of time to play.
Yeah, they're like novels.
But honestly, you can do it in small groups. Like, you can come back to it in 4 months. Like, I was on such a terrible level in 4. I was dying every single time that I took a break for like 3 to 4 months, went back, no problem. Just immediately snapped back into it.
Now, I'm going to admit, I've never beat a Final Fantasy game, and I never will.
I have never beat them either.
Well, I have a reason why, and it's completely nonsensical, but I stick to it. I was playing Final Fantasy 1, the first one.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was probably 15 plus hours into it. And at the time, I don't think I was married yet. My now brother-in-law decided he was going to play it, and he popped in and he erased my quest to start with. And I vowed from that point forward, I would never finish or play a Final Fantasy game again.
Oh my God.
That's it. I'm out.
Fortunately, modern games have workarounds for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a cloud save. You can save on your game system or on the cloud.
Yeah.
I will say this, Persona 4 has an issue where after you beat a boss, you will have to go through a little bit of a long story part before you get to interact and save the game. So, and there was a thunderstorm going on outside after I beat one of the bosses. I'm like, oh, there better not be a blackout.
Wow.
Well, I will say, as I get older, and maybe since we were talking about that and how these things change, I find myself gravitating to shorter games, and that maybe more independent games because of that. Because I don't want to spend 50 or 100 hours into a video game. It's going to take me months to beat it. I mean, for an 8-hour game, it takes me over a month to beat usually because I just don't have time.
Yeah, RPGs are a big ask.
Yeah.
You know what came out recently that's amazing is Shadow of the Colossus for PS4.
Oh yeah, I've seen it, and it does look absolutely fantastic.
They remade it with new graphics, and I don't know how old the little what do you guys say?
Frugal.
Little
My
Frugal.
son, yeah, it's not a people make references. No, it's not a phallic reference. Just for the
No.
record, it's my 6-year-old son.
Okay, it might be too scary for him then, but when he gets older, I think he'll adore this game. Shadow of the Colossus is one of the greatest games of all time.
It may be a fun one for him.
Yeah, I don't know. He's hit and miss with stuff. He likes Bendy. He likes Five Nights at Freddy's. We don't buy him. He plays what's free, like the free first day or something like that. Or
I'm gonna go and buy him a game.
oh, he's got a ton of games to play though. We got a lot. So somebody mentioned in the comments, I'd have to scroll back through Double Dragon Neon. That sounds fun because I beat Double Dragon 1, 2. I don't think I ever beat Double Dragon 3. I think I hated it too much.
I never got to play Double Dragon, but I got to play Golden Axe as a kid. That's what
I beat that too.
I would play I think it was Golden Axe 2, along with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 were the only 2 games I got. And I still remember this as a kid, Sonic and Knuckles came on out, and I was begging my mom, like, Mom, we need that. Please. And she goes, you already got it. No, that's Sonic 2. It's different. She wouldn't buy it.
I also beat Star Fox because that was mentioned. I beat that too. So I've beaten a lot. I'm pretty good at picking it up on them. Right now, I'm playing Battlefield 3. I'm a little behind.
No, you're not missing out on much.
No, I don't plan on playing 5 at all.
Nobody wants to touch 5.
No.
Why do you hate women, dude?
I hate my time. I want my own gender.
Get that quiet.
I'm a traitor to all women, and I should be disgusted with myself. Thank you.
Are they going to take away your woman card?
Yes.
Is that the next step?
Yes, I'm officially a man now. People have told me that. I'm like, what? I still don't got anything down there.
Prove it.
It's like with even they could take away your black card too.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
what
they
do
do.
several. I don't know. It's so stupid. These people.
Meanwhile,
you got Sean King. I won't get into it. I'm sorry.
No, I totally get you because it's people just want to be on the higher ground. They're like, I'm superior. It's like, no, you're not. You're just a jerk.
On a lighter note, if we're talking about Final Fantasies and stuff, I actually did my first test live stream earlier today.
Yeah.
And as the test, I did my review of the entire series of my favorites, my worst to most favorites. So if anyone wants to burn an hour, you can go to my channel and listen to me talk to myself for an hour.
Bad, dude. I do that.
It has recommendations and stuff. So if you're ever looking for a Final Fantasy captain, and you want to get back into it, there's some good ones there.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll ever happen. I mean, I've got Skyrim too there that I'm afraid to even start.
Oh, that's a time sink.
Yeah, but I would say if you have time, definitely pick up and play Persona. It's not hard to just drop and then come back.
4 has a special edition called Persona 4 Golden. That's the one you want.
That's the Vita, though. Does he have Vita?
Yeah, I have that too.
Oh my gosh.
That's the one you want then, trust me.
No, I have it. And the Vita. So I have both.
Only wanted Persona for okay. The only reason I wanted a Vita was to get Persona 4 Golden, but that's not a good enough reason to go buy a console, so I never bought it.
Yeah, but actually the Vita is very good. Here's something I would recommend getting a Vita, or if you can, a cheap Vita TV.
Yes.
Especially if you don't mind things like that, you can mod it with Henkaku, and you don't have to use those super expensive memory cards anymore. So you can avoid that, because that's one of the things that kept me away from a long time, is how expensive those memory cards are. Eventually I was like, heck, I'm hacking it. I hack it, I don't have to use that.
They were so expensive too. They still remained $300. And I was like, it's been out for 4 years. They're coming out with the PS4. I thought you would make this cheaper by now. Look, the 3DS is going cheaper.
What's the difference between the ones anyway? Because I think I have them both.
Yeah, okay. PSP uses different game cards, which was why I got frustrated and I refused to go buy the Vita in the
Well,
end.
that's the game we're talking about.
Persona 4 Golden.
Golden.
It comes with extra. It comes with like it's extended. They make
more content, basically.
Yeah, more content, more adventures. They redo a bit of the story to add in some new characters and have a bigger ending.
Yeah.
Well, you just keep watching, nerd. I'll put out a video. Why buy a Vita or a Vita TV today? It'll probably get like 10 views, but I'll make that video. That's what I'm playing 99 Vitas on as well. Not Vitas, but Vitas. So, some people are saying better off buying a PC. Yeah, that's probably true.
That's why it's called 99 Vitas. Okay, now I get it.
Well, no, it's actually 99 Vitas. It's about a thing that like a jeweler. This guy gets it gives you like 99 lives or something like that, and you're a guardian that was protecting it, but it got stolen, and now the guardians are trying to get it back. Cool. It's a side scroller beat 'em up that you can play with other people. So couch co-op fun, or virtual. You could play it online actually too with others as well. So. Little Frugal loves side-scrolling beat 'em ups, so do I. So we're gonna have some fun with that. We beat Maximum Carnage together, so not an easy game. Final Fight, we beat that together. So, though I did use a turbo joystick because there's no way I'm hitting that button that many times. Eric Breen just gave me a major smack, just for the record. He said, you know what would get 11 views? Avengers #4. Just for the record, that's a video everyone's been waiting for ages to do. And I keep putting it together and junking it and starting over. Because it's just, I was like, I got to do it better than this. One of these days, I'm just going to have to pull the trigger and say it's good enough and put it out there. So, okay, so what's another game you'd pull off the shelf?
Man, I wish I had more time to play. I actually play Overwatch. That's my relaxation game.
Okay.
If you've heard of that.
Yeah, that's when you shoot people in the face, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Well, that's what I say about any shooter game. I find them very therapeutic. Me and some of my friends or sometimes family will get there, and we don't have to be good. It's just a point of shooting each other and having fun.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays it's just about if I have a half hour to burn, I don't want to get into a deep RPG because those kind of they require your full attention. I used to play Street Fighter, but now Overwatch is, I could play it for 5, 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't matter so much. You just pop it on, you do a few rounds, you go back to what you were doing before. Or I have my 3DS with me that I carry around the house. I'll play for a little while and then, go back to whatever I was doing.
That's another one I like to use, the side-scrolling, the one-on-one fight games for just if I only have a few minutes, I want to sit down and beat or beat through. Like right now, not long ago, Little Frugal and we each beat what's that darn game? Marvel vs. Capcom 3, not the newest one, but 3. We don't have anything current.
Good one, you mean you have?
Yeah.
Nice.
But we beat that. He beat it on easy. I beat it on normal, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Give him another couple of weeks and he'll be beating it on hard and I won't be able to beat it at all. So
let me think. Yeah, there's all these Kingdom Hearts just came out, and that was a huge deal for a lot of people because it's been 17 years since the previous one, and I just don't have time to play it. Mm-hmm. It's a downside to getting older, I guess.
And some people here are mentioning emulators and things. By the way, you can do that with the Vita too as well. I'm not a big necessarily supporter of emulation, but I actually really greatly appreciate it because I'm still old school. I like the physical game. Mm-hmm. But it can be very cumbersome having everything hooked up and trying to get the cartridges and the game discs for your kids and stuff. So if I already have the game, I don't feel bad if I have it on emulation too. No. So then I can just fire it up and I don't have to pull it off the shelf, find it on which shelf it's on, make sure that system is selected on at the TV. Because my TV behind me, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consoles hooked up to it. Mm-hmm. The one in front of me, I've got 3 hooked up to it, and 2 of sitting here that aren't hooked up. And then I got an old school tube TV with 3 systems hooked up to it. all in here. And it's sort of cumbersome sometimes, especially when a kid wants to play a game for 5 minutes and then he's going to switch to the next thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Eh.
My nephew's like that. Used to be like that.
And yeah, and if you travel, some people are mentioning too, that makes perfect sense. Why would you want to, carry all that stuff to travel with? If you already bought it, I don't see a problem with it. And I'm not judging you even if you didn't buy it, because some of them you can't even get anyway.
Yeah. There's an amazing channel on YouTube called 16-Bit Gems, and they talk about emulation a lot, but they mention a lot of games that I've never heard of, and the only way to find them is by looking them up through emulation. If anyone's into like retro games, that's an amazing channel.
I'm going to have to check that out, because I guess technically all games I have are retro. I have none of the current systems still.
It's a really nostalgic and fun channel.
Yep. Were you making fun of me, nerd?
You have Persona 5.
Yeah, but that's on the Vita.
I wish it was. Yeah. No, that's Persona 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then I don't have 5. I must have 4.
He's got Golden. Hey, there we go.
That's the one. You got to play that one.
I'm booting it up right now just to double check and look.
It's gonna be Persona 4. Like, and 5 has yet to come out. There is suspicion because if you play
out, of course I don't have it then. If it hasn't come out.
5 is going to come out on Switch, I hear.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, because Smash Ultimate released Persona 5, and I already know a lot of people are having issues in Japan with putting their games on PlayStation Network because of all the censorship. And in fact, Atlas even admitted that Catherine's becoming a nightmare for them, the remastered of that, because the censorship won't approve of it. So, but they just did a deal and they got Joker from Persona 5 to be a playable character in Smash. So it's kind of hinting we're going to put more Persona and maybe more Atlas titles on the Switch, such as they're already bringing Shin Megami Tensei 5, I think. Is it 5? We're on 5 on the Switch.
Okay, I do have to stand corrected, so I want to make sure I mention that. You're right, I do not have 5. I have Persona 4 Golden,
yes,
and I have Persona 4 Dancing All Night. What the heck is that?
I don't like that one as much.
Okay,
I don't even know what it is.
I heard about it, and I heard from a lot of people, though you do not like it. I heard it actually is a very good sequel. Like, they're like, I know this is going to sound weird, and you're all going to make fun of me, but it's a really good sequel. It's just good.
So it's a sequel to Persona 4.
It is a sequel to Persona 4. It's just meant, you don't need to play it to get to do it. It's just fun. Like, there's another one called Persona 4 Arena, and it also takes place after Persona 4. You don't need to play it, but you can, and you can have a lot of fun adventures with it.
My objection with that is that Persona 4 ended with such a good ending that it was so perfect. I don't want to see anything else happen to these characters. Their story, as far as I'm concerned, is done.
Well, they should at
have
least
their happy ending.
References to them in Persona 5, like at least Rise, you could see posters of her around the place. And I was shocked we didn't get to hear about Naoto while we were in there, because you take the name Phantom Thieves, which is what Naoto's family were chasing after.
Huh.
They were younger. Yeah.
I have someone on here that I don't even know what they are. That look interesting. That I want to try, like Corpse Party Blood Drive. That sounds.
Oh, I own that one. Yeah, the first one, the original. You can actually play some of them for free because they originally started as kind of RPG Maker games that got very popular. They're very gory. Do not show it to little Frugal.
Got it.
A lot of massacring and a lot of sound effects of blood and squishing organs. We're not showing it to him.
Power Wisdom mentioned Life is Strange. I've seen that. I thought that looked like it'd be good. Another one I want, but it's only on PlayStation 4, is it's one of those where you have a party of kids and you try to keep them all alive, like a choose your own adventure, but in a game. What is that called?
Till Dawn?
Yeah, Until Dawn. I think that looks really good. But I'm one of those people that have to let them die because I want to see them die.
Oh my god, it's horrible.
You know, I did the same thing when I played Resident Evil. I will die on purpose and stuff just to see what will happen. You know, oh, he's gonna get ground into the grinder or something, or become a Jill sandwich. You know, I want to see it.
This power through wisdom person is nailing it, though. Life is Strange is actually one of my favorite games ever. It's all story. Mm-hmm. If you're into I would say the genre is navel gazing, but if you're into that kind of story and atmosphere, it's actually incredible.
And why is it navel gazing?
Like, not quite emo, but it's slow, it's sad, it's thoughtful. If you look up the soundtrack, you'll get a feeling of what the pace of the game is like.
You know, a game that I enjoyed that was just put you through the ringer is that Telltale, The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
I season 1. I haven't played season 2, but I beat season 1. It was like every choice you do is screw somebody over. It's like, this is great.
Then you're gonna. There's so many games that you would just adore with that concept.
I watched PewDiePie play that, and he cried. It was very touching.
That's how I got it.
Well, I used to always read Choose Your Own Adventure books too, and things like that, and I always loved them. And now Little Frugal loves them too. He's got a Plants vs. Zombie Choose Your Own Adventure kind of book, and that's fun.
Does that mean you've ever played a visual novel, like not the dirty kind, but like at least like the less dirty kind, like I guess Melty Blood or the Fate Stay Night? That one's actually.
I have no clue what that is at all.
Choose your own event. Okay, so Japan makes these things called visual novels, and they're video games, but they're choose your own adventures. A lot of them are just choose your own adventures. A lot of them are pornographic, but you can actually find some really good ones that aren't. And one of the more popular ones is Fate Stay Night, where it's like a quest to get the Holy Grail, and you summon like these warriors and stuff, and you play a character and you get to decide what you do, and this decides the ending of the game, and there's like huge branching paths through it all.
Yeah, I like stuff like that. You know, it has a story to it, and you make choices and have to direct it. You know, there's some really cool game books like that too. Eventually started incorporating dice and everything else too in them as you play the Choose Your Own Adventure, or some of them you played against somebody else, and each person has their own Choose Your Own Adventure book. Like each one's playing a different character. One's like, for example, is with Daredevil and Kingpin, and you play against each other through that book, both books. Each one, like one has the Daredevil book and the other has the Kingpin book, and they're really cool.
In a way, comics, the next evolution, let's say, of comics is graphic novels or visual novels. In some ways, they have words and illustrations. Some of them are voiced, some aren't. I've actually wanted to write one, or I have written one, but I didn't have coder friends who were willing to work with me on it. But they're all of these comics and games, they're very, especially RPGs, they're very close DNA wise.
Interesting. Does Nerd, do you know, does Comics Division do coding?
Comics Division coding?
Does he do coding?
I'm not sure.
Might I don't know.
Let's see here, but I do like. I'm actually learning to code right now.
Oh, well, there we go. You need to learn fast so you can get his stuff done.
Yeah. I just honestly, I was very I feel like I'm a little bit stuck at my job and so forth. Sometimes I don't think I'm doing a good enough job. And other times I'm like, is there something I can do to better myself? And actually it was from that meme that people were shooting around. Learn to code, you journalists, learn to code. And I'm like, well, they're not going to do it. I should do it. That sounds like a good idea. And I have started to learn Python, which is really good if you want to learn to do more of the visual, if you want to make your own visual novels. And I think RPG Maker uses it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good investment.
Very cool. So that would be fun. I think I would enjoy seeing more, with the style that you have in things like that and story wise too. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to do my own choose your own adventure thing with a visual novel, so that'd be fun.
The timing's going to be a little, well, we'll see what happens. But after this, Indiegogo finishes with my problematic book, the next one I want to do is one of my old visual novels that was supposed to be a smartphone RPG. and it's actually, the story is almost finished, but I was thinking either I'm going to turn it into just a illustrated book, or if I can turn it into a game, I want to turn it into just a visual novel that you play on a smartphone. So
yeah, definitely pick up RenPy. It's free. It's a software that you.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's definitely what you do. I think they now have one that you can work on making mobile app games for it.
Yes.
And that's RenPy?
Yep, RenPy.
RenPy.
Okay.
It's a really good one. They made mostly Americans use it, but there's been quite a few very popular ones. I think Katawa Shoujo was made that way.
Yeah, that's gonna have to. I'll have to see how this Indiegogo thing goes. But if I don't know, we'll see. That's something I would love to see if people would be interested in.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of material that you're sharing in there and things that people can check out. So, I mean, if you're watching this, or you're watching this later, I should say, click on the links down below, check it out. There might be something there for you.
Yeah,
I found it fun.
And of course, it's the whole archive's up there for free if you just want to read it. The book is for if you want a copy and if you want to support future strips.
Heck yeah, I do that all the time.
There you go.
Stripping or supporting?
Comic stripping.
I used to be a webcomic junkie kind of thing. I used to read all sorts of different webcomics, and when I would go to conventions, I specifically would usually pick out the ones that I knew a webcomic artist was going to.
Oh.
Because I liked venturing into the artist alley. And I love talking to webcomic artists. That's how I got into certain webcomics, was being friendly and talking to the creators there. And if I liked their pitch and what they were doing, I would definitely go read more of their stuff. So in the end, I fell in love with this. And that's when I would read a comic I really loved and they were there, I would make sure to buy an issue or copies of their books.
I've got a story idea pitch for you now, Nerd Wonder. Since you said you like to go down these webcomic alleys, right? Well, Nerd Wonder one day was going down the dark webcomic alley with their parents, and their parents were murdered by a killer, and that turned her into a artist superhero. How lame is that? I know.
So say it. It's also kind of lame, yeah. It's like that. There's a sheep at a zoo they named Bruce Wayne, and I couldn't help but tweet out to those people. I'm like, "Is his parents dead?"
Shame on me. Yeah, Web Alley. Webtoon Alley. That just sounds weird to me.
Except the drunk duck alley by the smack jeeves. Yeah, I know these things.
You became the Nerd Wonder.
Yeah, this is but yeah, I love webcomics. So this is really fun to see these because I haven't been able to find a really good webcomic. A bunch of the series that I really enjoyed as a kid have ended. Others went on hiatus, and others they just I could read them, but there's not a lot to go on anymore. I used to have a nice little repertoire, and every like the week that it opened up, I would have like that was what I looked forward to in the day, was oh hey, it's Wednesday, Sam and Fuzzy is being updated, or like, oh hey, it's Monday, Girls with Slingshots is being updated. Oh hey, Mookie just updated on Tuesday, and that's what I used to look forward to, is to see all these artists, and that stopped. I mean, like a lot of these series are over, and I haven't been able to find that passion anymore. Like most of the art just, I don't want to be rude, but a lot of it just seems kind of the same at points. And I'm like, in the stories, at times are just kind of the same, and I'm like, I want something different.
Yeah. Well, that's why I tell people, I challenge you. I would check out this Problematic. I think it is something different. I think it's something special.
This is what I want, like something like this. This is fun. Like when I mean everything's the same is usually when they're doing a fantasy story. It's all the same characters. It's all the same stuff. And I'm like, oh, come on. You have some good stuff. Or maybe the art's too identical to another one. I'm very picky.
Yeah. And I think maybe it throws me back to the days of reading Peanuts. You got a group of people, interesting characters, and fun little bit stories. I just now realized I kept you for an hour and a half. I told you I'd try to let you go by then, so I probably ought to wrap this up.
That's all right. It's been fun.
Yeah. Anything else you want to mention before we sign off? Or?
I think we covered most of it. I've got my Twitter, gprime85. I have a YouTube channel here, which is just my name, George Alexopoulos. My website's studionj.com, which has links to everything. And yeah, you can read Problematic if you want to read it before you consider buying the book. It's all on this app called Webtoon. You could find the link through my website. And the only other thing that I have going on this week is I've got a very, very special interview tomorrow that if you guys like webcomics, it's worth looking for. It's going to be tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock.
So definitely follow you on Twitter, right? So they can get the
I will announce it on Twitter, yes.
Tweet it out. DM me this so I can read it. Like at work, I like listening to everybody's videos. Like honestly, Cat Frugal, I listen to your stuff on while I'm at work.
You're the I appreciate it.
I mean, honestly, I gotta make. I design stuff, and sometimes it takes forever, and I'm like, oh, this is so boring. So I pop in something, and I'm all like, it's Betty and the Ink Machine with little Frugal. So cute.
Yeah, we don't do it really for the numbers. We do it for the fun. But yeah, but definitely, yeah, check out his stuff though. Help promote it so he can keep doing this. And you know, you work a job on top of this. So this is a huge love of passion. So let's try to help these things out. And how about you, Nerd? Wonder anything I need to plug for you or?
Not yet, but there will be surprises coming your way very soon.
And on my end, I'll plan on still doing more videos and be where next week we plan on doing another video, same day, same time, Thursday at 7:30 p.m. if everything works out okay. And talking about somebody else's great and passion and hard work as well.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching, spending time with us, and help us out a little bit. Spread this video around so more people get to check out what he's doing and the good hard work he's doing. And until next time, keep it frugal.
Bye.
Thanks.